I think it's worth it. And I can tell you guys really love Canada. I can tell.
We definitely do.
Now the biggest question. Tell me a little bit about your love stories. How did you guys meet?
Are you going to say that?
That's all you.
Okay, hello everyone, and once again, welcome to Presenting Canada to the World. Today, I find myself with two talented individuals who currently lives in Calgary. Originally, they're from Ghana. So on my right side is Williams and the wife, beautiful wife, Esther. So I met them through LinkedIn, and I messaged William, and I saw his profile. He's achieved quite a bit, and I felt like his story and his wife's story would be beneficial to the audience. So I decided to bring them here today, and they accepted my invitation. So welcome to the channel, Williams and Esther. How are you guys doing?
Thank you.
We're doing very well. By God's grace. The summer is ending though, so we are getting ready for the fall and winter. Apparently in Calgary, the fall is very short, so we're more or less prepping for winter. So we're looking forward to that.
Right.
How are you two?
I'm very good, very good. Right now, as your husband has said, summer is going to get a little bit colder very soon. Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna jump into the conversation then. If you guys would like to introduce yourself and your background, specifically in Ghana, some schools that you went to in terms of high school, university level, and your journey to Canada so far.
Okay.
Who do you want to start?
Sure. So, as Kwabena said, my name is William Budu. I've been in Canada for about 4 years now, I believe. Most of my time I spent in Vancouver, Canada, and I recently moved to Calgary about 6 months ago. In terms of education, I started basic school with the University of Ghana Basic School. We actually went to the same basic school. University Primary School, as is popularly known. For high school, I went to Achimota School, just around the corner. And for university, I went to the University of Ghana. In high school, I studied general arts with a combination of economics, maths, CRS and geography. And then when I went to the University of Ghana, I decided to pursue a degree in business administration with a focus in banking and finance. And that sort of led me to Canada, where I decided to pursue my MBA. And so I believe 1 year after my national service, which I did in GIMPA, Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, I decided to pursue my MBA. And initially, I wasn't so keen on going to Canada. Back then, I don't know, Canada wasn't that popular, and everybody was talking about UK. I was really excited about going to the UK after school, and nobody mentioning Canada. But then my parents started pitching Canada to me. They said that life after school there is good and all of that, and I was like, well, okay. I begrudgingly decided to start researching about Canada and finding out what is all this whole Canada thing about. And I found out that there were actually really good schools there, as a lot of people didn't know. And so basically, to cut the story short, I had a criteria of schools that I was looking for. Basically, I wanted to do a 1 year program because I did not want to study for too long. I also wanted a school that was fairly highly ranked, so a school that was within the top 15 in Canada, and also a school with relatively good tuition, and then scholarship opportunities. So I managed to get a significant level of scholarship, almost 50% for Simon Fraser University, and then I ended up doing my MBA there. After that, I worked for a few years, and here I am in Calgary working as a financial analyst with the University of Calgary. So that's just a little bit of a summary of my story.
That's a long time.
Right there. Thank you, William. I think we're gonna dig more into what you have been doing so far. So I will move on to Esther. And Esther, what's your background, please?
So like you mentioned, I also attended the University Primary School. And from there, I went to Methodist Girls High School in Mafe, Ebri.
Okay.
And And then, so I also studied general arts there, but with different combinations. I think I did general arts, history, Ikeapemchi, and government. And then I came to the University of Professional Studies to study marketing. And then I worked in Ghana for a bit in the field until I moved here about a year ago. So that's been my journey. I'm currently working with Life Labs Medical Laboratory, but I'm currently on a break. But that's where I'm working. I've been working since I came to Canada.
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys pretty much know each other very well in Ghana.
We'll get to that one. That one is another story altogether.
Yeah. So I think, can you guys tell me a little bit about the process itself? I know, William, we have touched a little bit on it. Why Canada at last? Why wasn't UK or the USA, as people were mentioning? But I know your dad did convince you, but what was the final, nail on the coffin for you to decide to choose Canada?
Yeah, I think for me, if I had to say one thing, it would be post-education or the immigration process, or let's say like the chances of staying after school, right? You hear so many horror stories about people who go to the UK and immediately after they are done, some not even able to stay for their graduation and they have to go right after, right? So I was looking for somewhere where I could have a new beginning and where I could also get some work experience in Canada, because I knew that there were lots more opportunities there than there were in Ghana, right? So I think the biggest thing for me was being able to stay after, and Canada was offering, or is still offering, a postgraduate work permit program where you can stay for 1 to 3 years. And in my case, since I did a trimester program, which was effectively like a 2-year master's program, I got to stay for 3 years after, which I think was a really big deal breaker for me. So I would say that the number one thing was being able to get a chance to work in Canada after school.
Amazing. Esther, what about you? Why Canada?
Well, I didn't really have a choice.
Just tell your story. Why Canada?
I really don't have a story like he does. I know I had been thinking about coming to school in Canada, but I wasn't at the moment working towards it. So Canada just happened by virtue of marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we met we actually met virtually.
Yeah.
I think you need to tell the story so that it will link everything together.
Get it down.
Canada before I came, so we didn't make the decision together or make the so
right.
I just tagged along.
Okay, so you got to Canada by default.
Yeah.
All right.
But I didn't force it though. You like that?
By default.
So it's always amazing, right? Talking about reflecting back and all these things now. But Canada, I've been here for quite some time, and I've been in the BC as well. I've been to Vancouver. I lived in Calgary briefly. How was it, guys? How was it for you guys? First year coming to Canada, all the buzz in Ghana and so forth. Did it meet the expectations or not? How was it for you guys? First year in Canada.
You wanna go first?
Okay, so with me, my first year, it's been a very interesting journey. Okay. I've enjoyed my stay here. Before coming, I hadn't really heard much about Canada or looked so much into it, so I didn't really have an expectation.
Right.
My expectation was the excitement of coming to join my husband, but then I didn't really have much of expectation with the country. But it's been amazing. I've enjoyed living here. Living in Vancouver was amazing. Getting to see all those beautiful places. I'm glad we were able to enjoy that for a bit before we moved here to Calgary, and Calgary has also been amazing. Enjoying everyday road trips and all of that. So it's been amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, you, Mr. Williams.
Yeah. So my experience was a little bit different because one, I came alone, right? And I also came for school. So I think, as a lot of people would be able to witness, it was a little bit tough at the beginning, leaving the people that you know, leaving family, having to struggle with the time differences of communicating. I know that, for instance, with the two of us at the beginning, it was a little bit rough because I had to be going to bed later on, because if I go to bed, let's say earlier on, let's say at 7, 8 p.m., I wouldn't meet her by the time she's waking up, right? So that was a little bit of a struggle adjusting to time difference and stuff like that. And with school, I struggled with the different dynamics in school versus school here versus school in Ghana, right? So
why though? Why was it struggle?
Very different factors. Like something like one thing I would say is just the oratory differences, right? In school over here, you are more or less pushed to talk. You have to present. Like I know back in Ghana, for instance, with my undergrad, we could have presentations and maybe 4 out of the 20 people would do the presentation. Somebody would do proofreading, somebody would just like sign off on it and then say that they've submitted their assignment. But no, you can't do that here in Canada for most of the programs, at least from my experience. So everybody had to pitch in with their presentations. Education is, I believe, is more practical over here, where you know the theory, but how exactly are you going to apply that when you're in a work environment? They tried a lot to simulate work environments by giving us like simulations where you have like a mock company that you're running, real life decisions. Okay, are you going to continue with this product or not? That kind of thing. So it helped us to be more to think more on the spot and be more practical and be very more vocal with our stuff that we knew. So I think it very much helped me to become more vocal, to be able to practicalize things and stuff like that. So that was how come I had a little bit of a challenge. Of course, I missed the food back in Ghana. That was a big one for me, being a bachelor and all of that. I mean, I made it sure I knew how to cook at least the basic things, but you just miss fufu and some granite soup like that you eat back home, and you can't just walk around or across the street and just buy that and come and take it home. So those were some of the things for me. But I think all in all, I think it was a good experience, although rough because of school and all the adjustments and cultural adjustments. But then all in all, it's been a really good experience, and I'm very happy that I took the risk and made the move.
Wow, amazing. And I know both of you guys are working professionals now, and in Canada you gotta go through some processes before you actually can get a job. So tell me a little bit about, in terms of working experience, especially during the interview or preparing. How was it for you during the interview process and actually the work you guys are doing itself? What are some of the benefits and some challenges you guys have faced?
So with me, I initially started working with Life Labs through a recruitment agency. So that was Agilus, and he had already made the connection for me. So when I came, I just got in touch with them, and then we arranged to have the interview. So I didn't have a direct interview with Life Labs. It was with Agilus, and it was actually it wasn't so chilling. Like, you know, when you go for interviews in Ghana and then it's like so strict and all of that, no one is smiling with you. It was actually a very friendly interview. With the person in Agilus, and getting into Life Labs, it's been amazing. I've learned so much. And one thing I really appreciate with working with Life Labs is they don't micromanage. So you are doing the job, but then you also have liberty to do it however you want to once you are reaching the goal. And so it was fun being able to work in that field and being someone who likes to go all out and extra miles for customers. It was very exciting to know that I could do this without anyone coming to say, hey, maybe this or that. So it's actually been a really nice working experience. Colleagues have been nice and they are always very helpful. Like if you have any issues with trying to understand something, there's always someone to help when you reach out. And my supervisors have been really amazing. Like they have the open door policy where you can always reach out at any point and then you get assistance with what you are doing. So yeah, it's really been a great experience working here. And one thing I've noticed is over here, when you are doing a job with maybe customer service, it's not just talking to customers or like it's not just basic. It's quite in depth. So you get to learn a lot because I work with systems and all of that I ordinarily wouldn't have known about. But so it's been really great, and I feel like it's been a great opportunity that is preparing me for my future endeavors and all of that. So yeah.
Excellent. What about you, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I think that it's been interesting working here. Even the process of getting a job, I think that even in school we had to redo our CVs. That was one thing because I came to learn that over here it's more about action words and with achievements and stuff like that, things you're able to do and stuff like that. So that was one thing that I needed to change about my approach. I found that interviews here, like she said, are not so daunting. Like from my experience, most of the interviewers tend to be like more friendly and open. You don't feel like they try to get you to be less anxious and be yourself, which I think it's one thing that I've enjoyed about the process. And to get my first job, I applied for several different roles, and I keep telling people that it is what it is, especially when you're coming from a different country. It is always going to be that people are going to be expecting that you have Canadian work experience. And I keep saying that if you haven't been given the chance, how can you have that experience in the first place, right? Somebody has to take the bold step of employing you, although you haven't worked in the country before, right? Regardless of how much work experience you may have back home, it may be a little bit more difficult. So I went through several interviews, but after a while you get used to it. Sometimes you don't need to prepare as much because there are questions that you already know at the back of your head. You become more confident with them. So I believe that basically by interviewing with various companies, I got that experience, right? So that was interesting as well. I also found that connections tend to help over here as well, because my role that I got was through a connection through my school, right? So my recruiting manager basically sent us a link about an opportunity that was available, and I basically applied for that, and I believe that helped, right? So, and generally the work experience has been very good. Like she said, I feel like the culture is more open door. There's less of a subordinate boss kind of gap. People they want you to be innovative. They don't want you to be a yes man or yes woman, just agreeing to whatever they say. They want you to be able to have your own point of view, be able to create things yourself. And I believe that is a very, very good kind of work culture to have. And so it's been a really good experience so far.
Excellent. And would you guys recommend Canada to anyone? And what do you guys love about Canada? Can I give you one or two items what do you guys love about Canada? Williams, what do you like about Canada?
Yeah, I would say that I like the fact that it's a huge country. It has its disadvantages, but the advantage of that is you're able to see different types of landscapes, different places within the country without having to actually take a plane, right? So you can just hop in your car, drive to BC or drive to somewhere within even your province, and you see something totally different, right? And so I believe that one thing I like about it is the landscapes and stuff. And then another thing I would say is the systems, right? In general, I mean, it also affects the quality of life. I mean, the fact that there's free healthcare, the fact that a lot of things work as they should. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks. You're getting whatever it is that you need. There's everything. There's a process for everything, even with the driving, everything. Like, it's very rules based. So everybody follows the rules, because you know that if you don't follow the rules, you get punished for it, right? So just that general thing, and then quality of life in general.
Only seeing everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can ask me my point.
You want to leave some? You want to leave some for Esther then?
Okay, I'll leave the rest.
What about you?
I'll just say that in general, quality of life is very, very good here.
Excellent. So what about you? What do you like about Canada?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say quality of life too. I mean, it's nice to be able to, because when you work here, a lot of them have the work-life balance. So you're able to also have time for yourself and explore the country you are in. So definitely that. And then also, I guess, working here, because there's so much you pick up from the work environment here. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be in the working force here.
Excellent. Now the biggest question. Tell me a little bit about your love stories. How did you guys meet?
Are you going to say that?
That's all you.
No, I think, Williams, I have to start with you. You're the gentleman. Come on.
No. She tells the story.
She tells the story, but okay.
Yeah, she tells the story. Go on.
We're gonna go to you.
So, I mean, with our last story, although we went to the same primary school, we were never friends. He never knew me.
Wow.
My existence.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I knew of him. I knew of his existence. So one time I was on Instagram and I was just scrolling, and you know how Instagram always brings people up in your feed saying like people you may know, and so he came up on my feed sometime in 2017 and I was like, oh, I actually know this person, so I followed him. So when I followed him, he texted me, like he sent me a DM to say thank you for the follow. And then we started talking there. So I told him, oh, I actually know you, so it's not like you're some random person following. And he was surprised because he didn't know me. And then we decided to move the conversation to WhatsApp. And we've been pretty much talking on and off. We were talking on and off from 2017, and I was in a relationship at the time, and so I was when we started talking. I didn't have it in mind to pursue a relationship. But then he decided to pursue a relationship. So he kept asking to see. And then initially when he asked, I told him I was in a relationship, and he said okay. So he goes away into hiding, and then he comes back to ask. And then so that went on for a bit, and then eventually when I was no longer in the relationship, and he asked, and then that's how the story began.
That was it. So, Williams, anything you want to add, or?
I mean, yes. I mean, when she hit me up on Instagram, I was very surprised because because of the number of followers she had, right? So she had almost 1,000 followers, and I'm like, wow, that's you don't get that every day, and I'm very surprised that someone as fine as she still is would message me and all of that. So I mean, and also continuing from where she ended, basically after she agreed to give us a chance, a lot of it was long distance communication, because I was in school then and she was working back home in Ghana, right? So but I would say we hit it up really quickly. Within 2 months or so, we knew that we knew what we wanted, and we knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. And so
we forgot to add the part where like God like heavily influenced this relationship because when before I decided to hit him up, I got a confirmation from God about the relationship before I hit him up.
Wow.
So I knew I wasn't moving on my own accord. And then when we started talking as well, he mentioned that it was very important for him to also get a confirmation from God. So we had to, so the beginning of the relationship, we had a lot of praying together, praying separately to get a confirmation from God before finally officially dating.
Amazing story. Wow. Anything else, or that's it? What else?
Yeah, I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I love these love stories, man. You guys look amazing together, amazing couple.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think with respect to time, I'll just probably ask maybe one or more questions. Another question that I have is in terms of people that would like to migrate to Canada, what would be your advice for them? Like, what are some of the preparations, or what would be your general advice for them? What to do?
I would say if you are looking to migrate to Canada, to do a lot of research, to know the things that you would need to do, aside researching into how to get here, researching into how to sustain, and then like all the necessary things you would need to do in the first years. Because over here, if you don't have someone who already lives here who would help guide you, you have to figure things out on your own, and sometimes it can tend to be a bit stressful. And I mean, and so you find yourself in a situation where you should have had something, you wouldn't know you needed to have those things. So just to research, do a lot of research while they are planning to migrate.
Okay. And Williams?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is along the same lines. I think that it's very important to know what you are getting into, especially like it should be, especially based on the province you are looking to move into. So you know that you're probably going to move to Alberta. You need to research into the kind of weather you should be expecting. Some people hear a lot about the weather back in Ghana, but it's a very different experiencing it yourself, right? So you need to be prepared for that. If you would probably buy some clothes, I know that you can go to Cantamanto to get some affordable clothing, just so that when you come, you're not straddled with so much cost, because winter clothing can be expensive, right? So at least come with something that you feel like you can use for the meantime. When you get established a little bit, then you can upgrade to the more fancy clothing. But yeah, I think it's all down to research and learn to be able to rely on your own, because living in Ghana, we tend to focus a lot or rely a lot on family and that kind of extended family lifestyle. Your friend will help you out with this, asking questions from people. But a lot of times moving over, you need to be able to do the research yourself, because there will not always be somebody to hold your hand, like she said. So I think you should have a mindset change, be ready to go down and be passionate about researching and finding out things yourself, because there are so many things. Like there are different benefits, like child benefits, and different, like for instance, benefits you can get from filing your tax. There are certain things that you can write off as an expense. So many things that if you sit down and you don't research and you're not like reading wide, you really wouldn't find out about, and you don't really get the full experience of what Canada has to offer. So yeah, definitely doing your research and having a mindset change and be ready to dig in and find out things yourself.
Yeah, I'd also want to just add being proactive. Generally, you need to be proactive, because things won't fall on your laps here. You need to chase things. So yeah.
Be proactive. Yeah, definitely, that's true. And in terms of speaking of help over there in the West, have you guys come in contact with any Ghanaians or Africans, or in terms of the community over there and then the help aspect, have you guys received any help from individuals you'd like to give a shout out to, or overall?
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, someone who was very instrumental to my initial move here was Kojo Emisase. Before I moved to Simon Fraser University, there's this Facebook page where I think he found out that I was Ghanaian, and he was like, "Hey, I see that you're looking to move to Canada," and then he linked me up and he started giving me resources and stuff like that. Because there's a lot that I did on my own, but it's always helpful to have somebody to help. For instance, your first few weeks, if you don't have accommodation, you may need to hitch at somebody's place for a few days or weeks. He helped me a lot with that. And so he's been very instrumental. I'm also Prince Ephraim. When we decided to move from Vancouver to Calgary, he has been very helpful as well, because he's been in Calgary for, I believe, 5 years plus. And so he's been very instrumental in our settling in here. So I think in general, when you tend to find a community like church, for instance, we joined a Ghanaian church in back in Vancouver, particularly Surrey. It always helps to get more Ghanaian people on board, because it can be a little bit lonely here, especially if you're moving here alone. And so by finding community in churches and stuff like that, and these special people who ended up knowing us some way, somehow, also helped a lot. So
I would also shout out his auntie Victoria Simpson. She's also been very helpful. Like, there's never been a day where we go visit and we leave empty-handed. She's been very helpful, supportive, and all of that. So
So the way it sounds, it seems like you guys are pretty much, have a long-term plan for Canada. You guys, what are the long-term plan though, in terms of family, career, and everything else? What is the long-term plan?
So I mean, the whole point of us moving here to Calgary was part of our long-term plan, because as you live in Canada, you would find out that the different provinces have different costs of living, different quality of life, and all of that. And one thing about British Columbia is it's one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive province to live in Canada, right? In terms of cost of housing, especially, right? So we realized that, look, if we wanted to, and we want to have a family, we want to have kids, and all of that. And so if that is something we're looking forward to, I'll say BC is not the best place for us to be. And so we decided to move to Alberta, where we can get a family home or a detached home at a very affordable price. So that was one step in our plan in terms of family and stuff like that. In terms of career, I'm currently working as a financial analyst at the University of Calgary, and it's always been my dream to work for a public institution here. Why? Because of work-life balance. It's very important for me. You tend to find that in the public sector, they tend to promote work-life balance a lot. They tend to have good benefits, and they tend to have good stability and stuff like that. And all of this ties in with family, right? So basically, my long-term goal in terms of career would be to keep on rising up the ranks within the university, and get more senior roles in finance, which is my passion, right? So that would be it for me.
Right. Excellent. How about you, Esther?
So since it's already touched on the family, I'll just touch on my personal career goals. So because I love working with students and youth, I'm also looking to end up working in the university. So that's the end goal of working in the university, working directly with students and admin.
Wow. So no plans to move to Toronto?
No.
We can't move from Vancouver to Toronto.
No plans at all. We've had good things though. We like the fact that there's a bigger Ghanaian community there than also. But I have been able to visit there. She hasn't. I visited.
I have visited.
Okay, yes. Sorry. She visited briefly. Where she came for a few days. So we've both been there. We might also visit in December. So
December,
I can see you.
Definitely. I'll be looking forward to that. So, in terms of any plans for Ghana, I know you guys have been exposed to so many things now. It might be a little bit early though, but any plans of Ghana moving back or giving back to the community? Anything else?
So with moving back, currently we are still discussing that topic. But then but we'll be visiting from time to time. But with regards to giving back, we actually have we have an NGO.
Okay.
That we set up to sort of give back to the community, especially the young people. Like in Ghana growing up, we don't really have guidance when you want to decide on your career path and education. You literally have to do it all by yourself. A few people are fortunate to have parents who guide them to find it, but otherwise it's more like, okay, my dad was a doctor, or I'm a doctor, so you're going to do medicine as well, so that it becomes like a family trend kind of thing. So we just have this NGO that is helping people to sort of explore their options and also guiding them to making the right decisions, because people also go to school thinking, oh, I think I want to do IT, and then they start working and they realize, no, this is not the job for me. It's too hectic and all of that. So that's our way of giving back at this time.
Okay.
Yeah. The NGO is called the Magnolia Community Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magnolia Community Ghana. So if anyone is interested in, they can follow you guys on Instagram.
Yeah, we are on Instagram as
at Magnolia Community Ghana.
Yeah.
GH. Sorry.
At Magnolia. At Magnolia Community GH.
Just some final words from me. So just to wrap up about Canada, I would say that I would 100% recommend anybody who's looking for a move to move here, because of one of the reasons, like I said, immigration over here, right? The life that you can have after. I would say though that it can be tedious, and I don't think anything good comes easy, right? Applying for your study permits with the Canadian process, they can be very rigorous in terms of very focused a lot on your proof of financial support and all of those things. You need to make sure you have everything in place. You can be rejected for the minutest reason, right? But at the end of it all, whether be it study permit process, work permit process, permanent residency, which a lot of people tend to apply for now. Although the process is rigorous, but I believe at the end you would really reap the benefit. So I'd advise anybody who has been sitting on an opportunity to move and it needs that extra ginger, that let's go and start the process. And even if you are doing 20 minutes a day of an application, it's better than nothing, right? Than just sitting on it. So that's the advice I'll give.
I think it's worth it, and I can tell you guys really love Canada. I can tell.
We definitely do.
Thank you so much. Really grateful to talk to you guys, and definitely I'll be expecting you guys when you come down to the Toronto area. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for